The Department of Justice has just handed down an indictment of Russian nationals in a $10 million scheme to spread covert Russian propaganda to U.S. audiences to interfere with the 2024 election, laundered through right-wing media commentators. This indictment alleges that right-wing commentators like Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and Lauren Southern, as part of something called Tenet Media YouTube channel, have been unwittingly working for a Russian influence operation, although the co-founders of this so-called media company appear to have been completely aware of the fact that this was a Russian influence operation. The two people described in the indictment as unnamed founders were very aware their operations were funded by Russians, Will Sommer states. Tennessee Business Records list Tenet's founders as Blaze TV host and Turning Point USA contributor Lauren Chen, aka the roaming millennial, and her husband. We wrote about it on MeidasNews.com, how these Russian nationals employed by state-controlled media, RT in Russia, are charged with conspiring to violate U.S. laws by secretly funding this propaganda to interfere with the 2024 election through right-wing media platforms. Let's go into the story in more detail. The Department of Justice has just unsealed an indictment charging these two Russian nationals, Konstantin Kalishnikov and Alina Afantseva, with conspiring to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, and money laundering in a scheme to covertly influence U.S. audiences. Both Kalishnikov and Afantseva remain at large, according to the DOJ's announcement today. The indictment reveals that Kalishnikov, 31, and Afantseva, 27, who were employees of Russian state-controlled media outlet RT, played a pivotal role in funneling nearly $10 million to a Tennessee-based online content creation company referred to in court documents as U.S. Company One. The content company, unbeknownst to its viewers, was funded and directed by Russian television to produce pro-Russian videos aimed at American social media users. This company is believed to be Tenet Media, who touts right-wing hosts Lauren Southern, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, and others as part of their roster. The indictment remarks, quote, on its website, U.S. Company One describes itself as a network of heterodox commentators that focus on Western political and cultural issues. This phrase matches word for word with Tenet's slogan, which appears on their website. The indictment further states that Kalishnikov and Afantseva, founder 1 and founder 2, also worked together to deceive two U.S. online commentators, Commentator 1 and Commentator 2, who respectively have over 2.4 million and 1.3 million YouTube subscribers. Founder 1 and Founder 2 contracted with Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 to produce videos using Commentator 1 and Commentator 2's own names and leveraging their existing audiences for license and publication by U.S. Company One. The subscriber counts at issue mentioned in the indictment match the number of YouTube subscribers for the accounts of Tim Pool, as well as potentially Benny Johnson. Although if you take a look at Benny Johnson, it may also be someone by the name of Dave Rubin based on their relative subscriber counts. It's unclear which one it is. I want to make that clear right now. Hey, I'm Ben Meiselas, one of the co-founders of MeidasTouch. You know, I heard Donald Trump on a podcast the other day once again say that climate change is not real. Let me show you what he said.
The biggest risk today, when I hear these poor fools talking about global warming, they don't call it that anymore. They call it climate change because, some parts of the planet are cooling and warming. It didn't work. So they finally got it right. They just call it climate change.
You know, when Donald Trump said that, it reminded me a lot about what he said about COVID when he said, like a miracle, it was all going to go away. Play this clip.
It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. And from our shores, it could get worse before it gets better. It could maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows.
And like a miracle, COVID did not go away. Donald Trump didn't have a plan and millions of people died. And now Donald Trump claims that the way he handled the COVID situation was a miracle. Here, play this clip.
We did a great job with some unknown disease at the time. Nobody knew what the hell it was. And what we did was a miracle.
You know, I don't want that to be how we deal with climate change at all. Climate change is real. And for me, fundamentally, you can't just say like a miracle, it's going to go away. It doesn't really exist. That's just not the way we can handle things like adults. We owe it to our future generations to get serious. And what I'm showing you right there by Donald Trump is just not serious behavior. In my view, it is disqualifying behavior, but that's just my opinion. I think it's important we talk about climate change. I wanted to share that with you now. Let's go back to the video that we were just watching.
Russia has long sought to exploit our free and open society by secretly influencing public opinion in the United States, said Attorney General Merrick Garland. Quote, the Department of Justice will not tolerate these covert efforts by foreign adversaries to manipulate our democracy. The DOJ alleges in this indictment that between October 2023 and August 2024, Russian television transferred nearly $10 million to U.S. Company One through a network of shell companies in Turkey and the UAE and other countries. The funds were allegedly used to produce and distribute content designed to sow discord among Americans, amplifying domestic divisions on issues like immigration, inflation, and U.S. foreign policy. Quote, Russia's influence operations as orchestrated by Russian TV are sophisticated and deceptive, said Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. Quote, the defendants in this case use fake personas, shell companies, and misleading information to push Russian propaganda to millions of Americans. Since its launch in November 2023, U.S. Company One, again, believed to be Tenet Media, has posted nearly 2,000 videos across platforms such as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and X, garnering over 16 million views on YouTube alone. By the way, that's about half of what we do at the MeidasTouch YouTube channel every 48 hours. Goes on to say, the DOJ notes that while the content appeared to offer commentary on domestic issues, it was aligned with Russian government's goal of weakening U.S. opposition to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The defendants are also accused of deceiving two U.S.-based online commentators with large followings into producing content for U.S. Company One without disclosing RT's involvement. The DOJ alleges that RT used a fictional persona named Edward Gregorian to conceal its role as the company's true financial backer. Within the indictment lies a troubling sequence involving directives from Elena Afansieva, alias Helena Shudra, to manipulate content creation at U.S. Company One, aiming to tailor videos to specific agendas. Notably, in early 2024, Afansieva orchestrated the creation of tailored content that included a video featuring a well-known U.S. commentator who MeidasTouch can identify as Tucker Carlson during a bizarre visit to a Russian grocery store in which Carlson said he was radicalized by how low the prices were in Moscow. This particular piece was strategically circulated within the U.S. Company One's producer Discord channel, prompting internal concerns among the staff about the overtly promotional nature of the content. Producer One, a staff member at U.S. Company One, expressed reservations about posting the video, describing it as overt shilling. Despite these concerns, the directive from the higher-ups at Company One was clear, with Founder 2 instructing them proceed, published the video because it aligned with the broader influence campaign, underscoring the depth of control exerted over the content output to serve specific propagandistic purposes for Russia. This episode exemplifies the sophisticated methods employed by RT's operatives to exploit the credibility of well-known U.S. figures to further their propaganda efforts under the guise of regular social media content. The indictment underscores Russian television's ongoing efforts to continue its influence operations in Western countries despite formal bans and sanctions following Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. According to the DOJ, Russian television's editor-in-chief boasted about creating an empire of covert projects to try to shape public opinion in the United States. Kalishnikov and Afansieva face charges of conspiracy to violate FARA, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, as well as money laundering, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. The FBI is leading this investigation. More details and data emerging as well. A hat tip here to Aria Kovler, who went through this indictment as we did as well, and he says, what this all means is that Russian intelligence agents were part of internal conversations with the co-founders of Tenet, Lauren Chen and Liam Donovan, about how much to pay some of these right-wing hosts like Benny Johnson and Tim Pool and others. It goes on to say, the Russians asked Chen, again, the co-founder of Tenet, to recruit Benny Johnson and Tim Pool to make some content and offered $2 million a year each. Johnson said he wanted $5 million. Pool demanded $100,000 per episode. What's also notable is the indictment does not suggest, I want to be clear here, that either Johnson or Pool knew that the money was coming from Russia. Tim Pool spoke to a Russian agent pretending to be a Hungarian businessman on a secure call. Benny Johnson wanted more info on the fake businessman, so the Russians made a fake CV, but Benny had a concern. The CV mentioned social justice, which was very alarming to Benny Johnson. And to be clear here, we're not sure if it's Benny Johnson or Dave Rubin because they each have the same following. And to be clear, regardless of who it is, there's no allegation that these individuals knew. I want to be, again, very clear about that. Eventually, they did a deal, so whether it was Benny Johnson or Dave Rubin would unknowingly work for these Russians for $400,000 a month in exchange for only 4 monthly videos, plus a $100,000 signing bonus. Pool also agreed to $100,000 video, but no signing bonus. Weak negotiating skills there, Aria Kovlar jokes. If you go to paragraph 27 of the indictment, Chen and Donovan, the co-founders of Tenet, knew it was Russians. Despite describing U.S. Companies 1 investors to Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 as Edward Gregorian, a purported finance professional in Western Europe, Founder 1 and Founder 2 admitted to each other in their private communications that their investors in truth were in fact Russians, the same term that Founder 1 and Founder 2 previously used to refer to RT while working directly under contract with RT as described above. The Russians wanted individuals to post Tucker Carlson's grocery video, but then some there thought it was too obvious shilling, but Lauren Chen said post it anyway. The Russians wanted to blame the ISIS Moscow attack on Ukraine. They got one of their commentators to do it. And we're just trying to lock down who all of these other kind of commentators are. But this is how the right-wing media ecosystem is working very closely with Russia. And frankly, a lot of these divisive messages are even originating with Donald Trump, who's posting these types of divisive messages on his social media platform and then being kind of pushed out to these influencers. Very, very, very serious indictment here. We'll come back to you with more information as we learn it here, but wanted to give you that breakdown. I know it's a lot of details. We'll keep you updated and we'll let you know if any other individuals get indicted, if this will expand in scope, which I think it will. We'll keep you posted. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.